Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first Track Day Heroes podcast, episode 1, for the week of January 18th, 2005. Track Day Heroes is just a group of friends, regular guys that are into sport bike riding at the racetrack, aka track days, and on the street. With me this week is original Track Day hero, Nate Bike. Say hi,
what's up,
folks. So this podcast, we're just going to share our experiences, tips, information about track days and sport bike riding in general. We'll talk about new bikes, tech, gear from our own real world use. We don't pretend to be experts in all this stuff, and we urge anyone listening to this podcast, to observe all the rules, regulations, and laws on the track and the street to be safe and learn how to ride fast and learn how to ride fast safely and have fun. This is all about having fun. And so why don't we tell you a little bit more about Nate and I so you know who you're talking to. Nate, can you tell me about what you're riding, what your bike experience is, how long you've been riding, when you started doing track days, and how you got into it?
Yeah, sure. I got my first bike back in March of 2012. It was a 06 Gixxer 750, and I had just gotten out of the MSF class and rode that for a couple of months.
What is that, Nate, that class?
The Motorcycle Safety Foundation basic rider course, and that just kind of got me started. And from there, I picked up a Suzuki Hayabusa, which I still have, a 2012. Got it like a couple months later, rode that around. And I rode that for most of 2012, and then in 2013, I got the BMW HP4, and I got interested in track days. Yeah, that got me interested in track days, and then that's when I started going to the track. A couple of my local buddies that live in Frederick, Noel and Nick and all those guys started getting me into the track thing, and once I got into one or two of those days, I just got hooked, and it was history after that.
Yeah, so the Hayabusa, man, that was your first bike. That is like,
it's one of the first ones. Yeah, it was one of the first ones.
And for those of you who don't know or are new to riding, I mean, the Hayabusa is a really, really fast monster of a straight line bike. Is that right, Nate?
It's large for a sport bike type of bike. I wouldn't classify it as like a true sport bike. It's more like sport touring, I guess, is a technical term. But yeah, it's definitely got a lot of power and fairly heavy. I learned to respect it early on and not really exploit all the power that it has and just kind of take it easy. Yeah, it was a fun ride for the first year or so, and then I wanted something a little more nimble and decided to switch it up a little bit and get something more track oriented for the next year.
Yeah, and the HP4, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. That is an awesome bike, top of the line type bike. And plus, hey, the Hayabusa, it's always good for carrying the ladies around. You don't even know you have them back there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
My riding experiences, I started riding when I was 18. I don't know what started it. I don't know if I saw a commercial or what it was, but I went and got a Honda Rebel 450, which is, 2 cylinders of 450cc madness. It's a little Harley knockoff. That was 1985. So yeah, I'm old. That bike, I got bored of that. Got bored of that pretty quick. And within 3 months, I traded it up to like a Honda Magna 750, which was another cruiser type bike. V4 engine, was a fast bike, but definitely not for the curves. And then I got a CBR 1000F, 1995. And that was my first fast bike, but it wasn't super nimble like they are today. It was sort of like the Hayabusa in its day, heavy, fast, good for straights. And then from that, I actually got into Gold Wings for about a long time, for like 7, 8, 9 years. I was riding Gold Wings. In and out of that, I had I was missing more nimble stuff and faster stuff for just me, and I got a ZRX 1200R. I had a couple different one of those. I love that old Eddie Lawson replica bike. standard sit-up bike, but really fast. No electronics though, no safety stuff, not even ABS, which is really, on all the new bikes today, you see a lot of ABS and stuff. So I had my last touring bike was a Honda Goldwing in 2002. I had that for 10 years. And then I got bored of that. I wanted to try something different, and like Nate, I heard about the BMW S1000 RR just reading motorcycle mags, and had really great reviews, and I wanted something that was fast, nimble, and safe with all the modern electronics, ABS, traction control, launch control, wheelie control, traction, everything. So that I got that in 2013, 2012. I bought it at the end of 2012, and that's how I met Nate and Fred Clark and some other guys on one of the BMW forums. And so I've been riding for 27 years on the street, and then these guys tell me about track days. I'm like, man, what are track days? I've never even heard of a track day in all my years of street riding, and I was in for a big thrill. Nate, why don't you tell us what track days are?
It's basically, in my experience, it's where an organization will rent out the track for a group of guys that are generally members of that organization, and everyone will just go out in different sessions for a certain period of time, usually between 15 and 20 minutes, and usually between 3 and 4 groups, and basically just go out there and ride. Most of the organizations have control riders that are out there that will guide you and coach you and show you exactly, what to do while you're out there and what not to do, and make sure everything's safe while everyone's riding. But generally, the idea is to have fun and do it safely.
Right. And hey, if you're new to riding and you want to check it out, you can just go to a track day. If you go to our Google Plus page, TrackDayHeroes, there's a whole list of the organizations in the Mid-Atlantic region that offer track days at the various tracks in this area. They're all over the country, but since we're based here in Northern Virginia, I just listed the ones for the immediate viewing area on our Google Plus page. But if you're new to riding, you can look up one of those organizations, check out their website, read all about it. There's forums on there where you can talk to people about what it's like to do the track days. You can get tips and experience that way too. But there's no substitute for seat time. And that means going to the track day. You can just go and observe. They'll let you in for free at a local racetrack where they're having one of these track day events. Usually all these organizations will let you be a spectator for free. And you can get a sense of it, And I have to say, and since I've been doing this with Nate and a bunch of the other guys in the Track Day Heroes group of buddies, it's been so fun. I have met so many nice people. The culture is really positive. People are there to help you. We help each other out with tools or how to do stuff and fixing broken parts. If you have a wreck and you gotta fix your bike, people will help you, and it's a lot of fun. What's your experience been like, Nate, of the culture of the track day?
Yeah, it's identical. Pretty much, like you said, if anything were to happen, there's always someone there that's willing to help you out. And there's a lot of ex-racers and current racers that have been going to the track for some time, and they'll come fully equipped with all the tools. So, if you don't have something, they're usually there to give you a hand with something. Spare parts, there's always guys there with spare parts to help you out as well. And everyone's just been so friendly and and positive, like you said. I haven't had any negative experiences in that respect so far, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's right. And if you're, like I said, if you're brand new, what they're going to do is they'll put you, if it's your first track day and you show up with your street bike, they'll check it out for tech, make sure it's safe, make sure your tires aren't bald, and that you got some brake pads, and that it's not totally falling apart, because they don't want the bike falling apart on the track. So they'll make sure that your bike is safe. They'll go through a tech inspection, and then if it's your first track day, they'll put you in the intro, novice group, a beginner group. Different organizations call it different stuff, but you'll be in a class generally in the morning, and so they separate the riders according to skill levels. And so you have your beginner group, your intermediate group, and Nate, what group are you in?
I'm in advanced Like everybody else, I started off in beginner and just kind of kept going to all these track days, and eventually just got bumped up and up. But it took me probably a good like 20 plus track days, maybe 30 track days. I think I did 20 last year, and then I did a small handful the year before. So it's been a long road, but it's been a lot of fun. And I don't. A lot of people get caught up in the importance of getting bumped and being in a certain group, but for me, it's just about having fun, and it's usually more fun when you're riding with the guys that you know and hang out with. So for me, it's just more about making sure that I'm out there with them and we're all just having a good time. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Nate's an A group, and well deserved. Nate's a really fast rider, a safe rider, and I'm an I group. I've done about 20 track days in the last 2 years, and my philosophy is the same. I mean, when they talk about the bump, yeah, that the bump is when they move you up from one group to the next, and right, some guys do get caught up in, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna go for the bump. I'm going for the bump. I'm gonna talk to a control rider and tell them I want to bump. Why won't they bump me up? And they get all bent out of shape, or they act like jerks on the track sometimes. And you have that with any group of people, but for me, my approach was, I've been riding a long time, and I don't want to get hurt, and I got an expensive bike that I don't want trashed. And so I've been taking my time and trying not to take unnecessary risks, but trying to push myself a little bit. But I never went to a control rider and said, hey, I want to bump. And there's nothing wrong with doing that if you're ready for that, if you feel like you're ready. But my approach was, let them kick me out of B group. Let me be, because the control riders, there's usually 4 or 5 of them that go out with a group of maybe 50 riders or 40 riders. And they'll work their way through the packs during the course of a 15 or 20-minute session. And they will single you out if you need help, if they see that you're really, a lot slower than the rest of the riders in that session, or if you are having trouble hitting the corners properly, hitting the apex of the corner, or they call it the right line on the track. The control rider will help you with that. And in the B group, the control riders are really careful, and usually they're really careful and helpful, and they'll make sure that you're riding at the right skill level. They'll have the rest of the group pass you by so that they can have you follow them. And there's a bunch of hand signals that the control riders use to control the group of people on the track. And those are all things that you would learn, before you step foot on the track with your bike in the classroom. So usually there's, I don't know, if you're lucky, right, Nate? If you're lucky, there's maybe 7 sessions a day.
Right, exactly.
And I think a lot of it depends on the weather and whether there's accidents. I mean, accidents happen at track days. They say it's not a matter of if you go down, but when, right?
Yeah, it's the general mantra. Although a lot of guys, they'll go the whole season and many seasons without wrecking. So I mean, I don't know. I can think of a couple guys that I've never seen wreck. You being one of them. So. What?
Me being one of the guys that's never wrecked? What are you talking about? I don't know. You see that? So yeah, I'm worried about it. Like knock on wood about wrecking, but that's just part of riding, and it's going to happen to most people, and that's why you wear gear, right? Nate, can you tell me what you wear at the track?
Yeah, they pretty much have everyone wear the same thing as far as protection. You're going to wear at least, at a minimum, a 2-piece suit. A 1-piece is preferred. The zippered portion that connects the 2-piece suits together can sometimes tear because it's a very, it's nylon. It's not very sturdy in the event that you do wreck with the 2-piece. But yeah, they make you wear 2-piece leather or 1-piece leathers. Gauntlet-style leather gloves, boots, and just full track gear. No corner cutting there. It's recommended that you wear a back protector. I don't know if it's required. I don't think it's required, but I think it's highly recommended to wear a back protector as well. So yeah, my personal setup, I've got a couple suits. I got the Dainese D-Air suit a couple years ago. In 2013, because for me, I spent a little extra to get that extra level of protection, because I felt that one collarbone injury could put me out of work for quite a few days, and I felt that it was worth the difference, just having that extra layer of insurance. But fortunately, it hasn't gotten to the point where the bag deployed or anything, so I'm good there. But I also have another suit that's just a regular old one-piece leather suit as well, and fortunately, I haven't tested that one out yet. So.
Yeah, man. Let's hope you don't have to. Yeah, I wear full of one-piece body suit, Alpine Stars. I bought the most expensive suit I could afford at the time, and it's like things I don't want to skimp on are my tires and my brakes and my protective gear. Because when it comes down to it, like those three things are what's gonna, and obviously your skill set as a rider, and your knowledge of the conditions of the track and paying attention to that, and also fatigue and your conditioning. Those things all interrelate to your safety at the end of the day. So I chose, not to skimp on any of that stuff. Put that stuff first is sort of my motto. And for the street, I wear different stuff. I always wear full protection on the street. A lot of the guys don't, and that's different. That's a different conversation. But at the track, yeah, like Nate said, they require that you have a certain level of minimum protection, and you can get by with cheaper stuff. You can buy the $500 suit from somewhere, but it's just a matter of personal preference. I'd like having that extra level of stitching or whatever it is, the extra thickness, the extra armor here and there, and yeah, I wear a back protector too. I just think it's like common sense if you can afford it.
Yeah.
So that's the typical track day, pretty much. Why do we do the track days, Nate? What's great about the track day versus riding on the street?
For me, it's being able to, the bikes that we ride, they have a lot of power, they handle extremely well, and they've got great brakes. But in order for you to really put them to their use, you need that closed environment where you can go wide open throttle and just, pound through the gears, and you can really get into the turn and corner at speeds that you normally wouldn't do on the street because there's just too many variables on the street for you to do them safely. So at least when you're on the track, you have a semi-controlled environment, and there's no traffic to speak of. There's no traffic lights. There's no gravel, all that stuff. So it's a more controlled environment where you can really enjoy yourself a lot more. There's less stress, I feel like, because you're not constantly worrying, and you can just kind of let it rip, and it's a lot of fun.
That's right. No popo, no 5-0 raining on your day. Taking some of the variables out, it's awesome. Why don't you tell me a little bit, Nate, about the first planned track day of 2015?
Oh yeah. So right now, I think the first day will probably be with N2. A few of us bought the season pass, not the full season pass, but we bought the 12-day pass, which allows us to attend any of the 12 events that they have on their calendar. And the very first one, the season opener, will be sometime in April, I think the 4th, that weekend, at Road Atlanta. We went there last year for the season opener, and that was the first time myself, Eric Davis, and Alex Malasheb have been there, and it was such a phenomenal track. It's a large track. You can run wide open and click through 6th gear and top out in the back straight. There's a front straight. I mean, there's changes in elevation, the whole 9 yards. It's such a fun track. It's worth us going that far to travel to. We're located in Virginia, and that's probably at least 10 hours of being on the road, and one way. And normally I wouldn't travel that far for a track day, but this particular track has just really set itself apart as being an amazing track to ride on. So we're looking forward to doing that here in a couple months.
Summit Point, Maine, and Jefferson those are the 3 closest tracks near us at Summit Point Raceway in West Virginia. This year opening up is supposed to be Dominion down near Richmond, right, Nate?
Yeah.
You know anything about Dominion?
It's supposed to be, I think, spring-ish time frame ready, but I don't know. Right now it's definitely not ready, so I mean I don't know how long it's going to take to get it ready, if it will be ready by spring, but they're putting dates on the calendar for it, so I guess all systems are go.
Yeah, I hope that they open full steam ahead with that this summer, because if you live in the Northern Virginia area and you want to do these track days, your choices are kind of limited to how far you're willing to drive, because it is expensive. Now, if you're hooked up with a good group of guys, like I'm lucky enough, these track day hero guys, we're just friends. We're not a bike gang or anything. We're just buds. But we, like Nate has a trailer that'll hold, 4 bikes if he's careful, and pitch in on gas, tolls, whatever it is, to go to a track like NJMP, New Jersey Motorsports Park, up in New Jersey, or Nate and these guys obviously going to Road Atlanta, say, sharing those expenses of that trip, sharing the hotel expenses and all that stuff. Which means you got to put up with other guys' farts and snoring and crap like that. But hey, that's part of bike life, yo. So let's see. So Nate mentioned the season passes. We got a couple more things we want to talk about, and then we'll wrap up the show. But Nate mentioned the season passes. Some, like for example, N2, that 12-day pass that was mentioned. Last year I didn't do a season pass. I wanted to keep it I wanted to keep my options open. And so I rode with Roger Lyle, Motorcycle Excitement. I rode with them a few times, maybe 5-6 times in the last couple of years. That's a good organization. They mainly ride at Summit Point Raceway and at NC Bike down in Garysburg, North Carolina. And then New Jersey Motorsports Park, I rode up there with Ace, Absolute Cycle Experience. That's another good organization. They run really nice track days. But this year I signed up for the 12-day pass also with M2, because their schedule this year seems to fit mine, particularly if Dominion does open up on time, because they have a bunch of dates scheduled there. So if you live in the Northern Virginia area, Dominion, and then down near Richmond, and then Summit Point, West Virginia, that's a good deal, because you can get to either place, hopefully not too bad, although 95 sucks, right, Nate?
Yeah, you don't want to get on 95 if you can avoid it.
Yeah, so find out what works for you if you're interested in track days. Try a track day with one group, try a track day with another group. Maybe you'll like one group better than another. So they all have slightly different philosophies, different personalities. Some are a little bit more relaxed, some are a little bit more safety focused, and you can figure out, what fits your style. So for me, track versus street, I still like to street ride. I know some dudes, once they get introduced to the track and the fun of that, it's like, street ride, no way. Who wants to deal with, dummies in cars not seeing you, and roadkill and potholes and cops and whatever else, gravel, but I still like to do the street, but I'm careful about where I ride. I don't just ride anywhere. Usually it's I know where I'm going, and there's like a destination road, right, Nate? What's your experience?
Yeah, same way. I mean, the street was definitely a lot different after doing a few of the track days, because once you're able to explore the bike to its outer limits, and then you go out and ride on the street, you realize you just really aren't utilizing the bike nearly to capacity like you think you may have in the past. But like you, I still think that it's fun. There's a different level of fun. It's not so much about going fast on every single turn as fast as you can, and braking as hard as you can, and that sort of thing on the street, as it is just kind of just relaxing, enjoying the scenery, and still carrying good speed and having fun in that respect, but realizing that there are a lot more variables out there, and you just need to make sure that you keep everything in check and don't let things get out of hand, and that sort of thing. But I still find it quite enjoyable, and still go out on the street as often as I can.
Yeah, you put a lot of miles on your bikes, and I keep my bike on the road year-round for that reason. A lot of people don't, after track day season, they hang up their bike because they mainly like to do track, and that's totally cool. It's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever your philosophy is. There's no wrong answer for that. But I've always had street bikes, and for so many years before I even knew about this. So I just like to keep my bike year-round, and you can get out in this area in the Mid-Atlantic and Northern Virginia. you can get out in January. You can get out in December. Nate and I had our last fun ride on the streets, going out towards Warrenton and that area, Route 522. For those of you who know, in that area, just Rappahannock County. There's some nice roads out there with a lot of fun. And we'll talk about these local roads and some other fun roads that are destination roads on the East Coast in another podcast. But yeah, I like to be able to ride whenever the weather's nice. You know, if there's not a lot of salt in the roads or no salt, hopefully. Yeah, I keep mine and I ride as much as I can too. So one last topic before we wrap things up. Nate, you and I both went to the International Motorcycle Show here in D.C. last weekend. What are your thoughts?
2015 is definitely an interesting year for the sport bikes. The new R1 looks great. Probably one of my favorites that were out there. The H2 and the H2R, those were impressive as well. I think those are probably going to just dominate the whole ZX14/Hayabusa market there. I don't know. I mean, the ZX14 they're still making, I think, and I guess the H2 would kind of be like a higher performance version of the ZX14. They seem to be in the same type of category. I don't know, to me at least. But yeah, there's definitely a lot. There were definitely a lot of cool bikes out there. I didn't really see too many things as far as sport bikes that were really that stood out to me other than those two. The S1000 actually was pretty nice. The 2015 with the auto down and up shifting now, and they also have, I guess it's automatic stability control and cruise control as well. And the redesigned styling, I thought that was pretty nice. So yeah, definitely going to be an interesting year. I'm glad I went to the show. I didn't see the stunt show, but I heard it was okay. Did you? I think you went to that stunt show, right? Or you saw some of it?
I tried to see some of the stunt show from the back of people's heads. If you don't get to the stunt show, right?
Yeah.
If you don't get to the stunt show early to get in front, you know, and if you're not 6'4", it's going to be hard to see. Jason Britton was there doing some cool stuff, and I got a peek at him. But you know, I thought you and I talked about it. Hey, well, we can't see it, but we'll see him on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I thought the show was interesting. You know, I've been the last couple of years. This is my third year in a row going to the show, and I don't think, you know, my experience tells me if you're going there looking for a deal on something, you know, probably not, unless, you know, N2 was there, Roger Lyle was there, Motorcycle Excitement, a couple of the track day orgs, and N2 had a deal on their elite membership, which is something we could talk about in another show, what the memberships are at some of these organizations, the pros and cons, etc. But they had a deal. It was like $100 off their elite membership for $150. That was like at the show, so you had to be at the show to get that deal. That was a sweet deal for that type of membership. But as far as like gear and jackets and things like that, all those vendors are at the show. Not so much. You know, I bought stuff there a couple times and come to find out that, you know, eBay or Revzilla or Amazon or something else, you're going to get probably just as good of a deal. So don't feel pressured at the day of the show to buy something, depending on what it is. You know, check with TrackDayHeroes and ask them what you should buy. But the other thing at the IMS, you know, I agree with Nate. It looks like there's a lot of cool bikes. That H2R is sick. The carbon fiber wings on the front of the bike, on the front fairing, seem a little over the top as far as, you know, are those really there to keep the bike from flying off the ground? But it's got a supercharger and it's supposed to be crazy. The street version, just the regular H2, you know, looks really nice too. Even the rear view mirrors on that H2 have a slightly, you know, they have like a downscaled version. They're also wing-like, not your typical rear view mirrors. So it's a sick looking bike. And yeah, that new R1, wow, that is sweet looking. I really like the LED headlights on that and the whole direction they took with that. That's like, you know, that reminds me of like, you know, the S1000 in its first year or something. And then BMW has been doing a lot with that S1000 motor, man. They're putting that in everything. You know, it's like next year at the motorcycle show, there's going to be like a baby carriage with an S1000 motor in it. You know, It's they got that on all sorts of dual sport purpose bikes. There's like 3 different bikes that have that S1000 motor in it. That S1000R, like their naked bike, which seems to be their naked Street Fighter bike, which seems to be like the latest fashion, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But hey, if you're gonna put that motor in anything, that's a good motor. So I like what I saw at the show. It was fun. Just one of those things that you do. It was fun to meet our friends there and hang out and go get some chow after, and it's quality time with the bros.
Good time.
So you have I guess we ought to wrap up, Nate. We've covered all our topics for the day.
Yeah. I got to get up early too, so.
All right, well, let's talk about next week's show or our next podcast. We'd like to maybe get into talking about the Tail of the Dragon. That's that crazy road down in North Carolina, Tennessee border with 311 curves and 11 miles. I've been there twice. A lot of people go there. We can talk about that, what that's like, some other great roads in this Northern Virginia area. We can talk more about track day gear. And what do you bring to a track day? Oh, yeah, you bring your bike, you bring your safety gear. What else should you bring? And how to be prepared, and just things that we've learned the hard way, by forgetting stuff and borrowing stuff and what not to do. We can talk about group rides on the street. That's a whole other thing. There's a whole culture to group riding on the street and how that works and who does that. And we'll talk a little bit about things we've dealt with the police and how to avoid and those types of issues, or what to do if you can avoid it. And I think we'd also like to set up some interviews with some of the control riders, or maybe some of the management or ownership of some of the track day organizations. They can tell us about their philosophies, and we'll have them on the show. Nate, any parting thoughts, bro?
No, that I guess that pretty much covers it. Next week or whenever we do the next podcast, definitely got a lot of good routes in this area. And I haven't done Tail of the Dragon myself yet, but I've heard a lot of good things, and hopefully this year I'll be able to make my very first trip down there and see what it's all about, and all the surrounding roads that I hear so much about as well. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely dragging you down there this time. Once you get the flavor of those sweet, non-winterized roads, it's awesome. Okay, so look, if you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at TrackDayHeroes@gmail.com. That's TrackDayHeroesTDH@gmail.com. Comments, questions, suggestions for how we can stop screwing up the podcast, let us know. We'd be happy to answer some of your questions live on the air next podcast. Check out our Google Plus page. It's Track Day Heroes. We'll have track day info, updates, links to track day organizations, area tracks in the Mid-Atlantic region. The YouTube video that I tried to show here today is posted, the link right on the links area of our Google Plus page, so you can check that out there. It's a 13-minute video. The video portion you saw was 2 minutes to 4 minutes in. Also, hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like this show, and you'll get annoyed by us next time we're in the area doing a podcast. And hopefully we'll have some more of the TDH guys on. Maybe we'll have Eric or some of the other dudes come on and mix things up and help us have a good show. So I think that's about it. Nate?
Sounds good to me.
All right, everybody. Peace out. We'll catch you next time on the Track Day Heroes podcast. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
And watching. Bye.